my name is Preston Ide. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Stears. Stears is a digital information company based out of Lagos. I like to say it's an information company. That's actually the most accurate way of thinking about it. And the reason is that the value proposition or the pain point that we're solving is the data gap. It's the information gap, which exists in Nigeria and sort of anywhere. If you look across Africa, it also exists there. So we essentially created Stears and built Stears because we wanted to provide people with high quality information. When we think about our mission, and we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we're doing with Stears? Stears' mission is to make it easy for anyone, anywhere in the world to access high quality information on Nigeria. And in solving that problem, we have found different ways of doing it. So if you look at it from a B2C or consumer perspective, the most appropriate way to actually share information with individual consumers is through a media platform. And that's why Stears Business exists. Where Stears Data is the B2B element of the same information ecosystem, where someone comes and they have a specific question. Let's say they want data on a particular industry, or they want to better understand or deep dive into an industry. Again, Stears is able to provide that solution via Stears Data. So it's a tricky business, but at its core, we're in the information services business. So I actually remember vividly the first change we had to make after trying to just bring the Bloomberg model to Nigeria, and that was moving away from financial data, right? So Bloomberg is heavily built on financial data. The Bloomberg Terminal, which is like their flagship platform, is basically a financial data platform. Coming to Nigeria and appreciating the fact that the financial services industry is still growing, it's nascent. It wasn't possible to just replicate that, so we had to broaden the data that we focused on, and that means today we focus on economic data, demographic data, in some cases corporate data as well. But that's the first sort of major tweak. And I guess the second one is, compared to Bloomberg, we started our media publication first, but Bloomberg actually kicked off with their data arm. So we added our data after starting the media publication. But from the very beginning, the intention was actually to start off with the data side. But the reality was, access to capital. As most people know, even the data skill sets is very difficult. To find very talented, data scientists, data engineers, sort of people who you bring together to actually solve data problems. So from that perspective, we had to tweak again. So I think those are two major changes we've had to make so far. I guess it's sort of two things, and you look at it from two different perspectives. The first one is, what is the value that we provide? We like to think that our information is worth paying for, right? And when you want to produce high quality information consistently at certain standard, it essentially needs to be funded by a sustainable business model. So there's a limit to how much we could continue to provide all our content for free. So that's the first leg. The second leg is, we believe in innovation. So when you look at the media ecosystem in Nigeria, there are few. Business Day was the major subscription-driven platform, but there's no reason why the rest of the world is moving towards this new model, abandoning the sort of advertising-driven two-sided model where you have the advertisers on one side and the readers on the other side, and going straight to the consumers, right? Going straight to them to say, we want you to pay for this content to access it. And we felt, well, if we don't lead on that, someone else will, right? And if we really want to be able to change and build out that future of media, then it was just very important that we go out there very confident about our product and ask people upfront to pay for it. I think in terms of the specific timing, it wasn't a pivot. It wasn't like a reaction to COVID or anything of that nature. It was a long-term strategy. We were going to, put out the premium service, come COVID or no COVID, because at its core, even at a time like this, where COVID is sort of rampaging and we're in a global pandemic, right? Information is even more important, and high quality information is very important. So the thing is, if the biggest way to validate any product in any company, right, is when customers are willing to pay for it. And for us, that was a big step. In terms of data informing that, we had already started seeing trends in terms of how people were using Stears content. I think for a long time, we found the average time spent on a Stears page was 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Right? Lots of people really spending their time reading the content. Since we launched the paywall, that has even gone up. And it's people are now like, well, I'm paying for this. I'm definitely going to extract my value from it. And so there's this synergy between the newsroom creating the content and the users. I think the relationship is a lot more direct now. There's no middleman. There's no sort of advertiser in the middle that determine what you create, not driven by sort of clickbait content. And I think that's just important if you want to actually innovate in a space like media. So it's two things there, right? At our core, like I said, we believe the content we're creating is very valuable. And there are many products out there on the market. Take something like food that people, pay for, buy today. There are many people who cannot afford different, kinds of food. But that doesn't mean all companies offer their food for free. Right? So it's actually understanding what is your value. And why do people use you? Are you creating something that is valuable? And if you are, I think it's very fair in the economy that we are in fact, in the structure of how markets are built, right, to then signal that to the customer. Because what we've even found is that the fact that we are now charging people for our content has made them treat it differently. There's so many perceptions people have had around media in Nigeria, around media in Africa. People almost treat it as this side, it's like reporting, they're commenting on the side. But now that people are actually voting with their dollars and with their naira and all of that, right, we're already seeing people treat our content differently. Your voice is almost strengthened the moment people start to look at it. The relationship that people have with the product affects the brand. So you take a brand like the Financial Times and the Economist, the Wall Street Journal. These are business publications that have had paywalls for years, and the Economist can write any article tomorrow, absolutely almost anything tomorrow around Nigeria, and it's going to make waves across the country, and people are going to say the Economist said this and the Economist said that. But that doesn't mean it's the best content out there. But again, most of us are familiar with how, Nigerians tend to treat international products, right? There's this awe around it. There's this, this is, international and this is local. So we want the international. And for us, we believe that we are producing content at the standard of these international publications, if not even better. So we are going to essentially signal that to the market. Aside from that, we're still looking at a lot of other innovations along the way to make the content more accessible to everyone. It's very interesting because before the paywall, not a lot of people asked the question about, what about accessibility to those people who want to read it, Everyone's always asking, how far does your content go? How many readers do you have? People were almost doubting how many people on your website. And then you put paywall and people start asking, you're restricting people. Well, what were the questions before? But again, I think it's all part of the business model and even building out a stronger product. I think the first thing is letting everyone understand what it is we're doing and why we exist. And I believe that the team understands just as well as me, if not even better, that our goal is to provide high quality information. It is why we exist. It's non-negotiable, the quality of the content. And so when you join the Stears team, you join the newsroom, you join sort of Stears Data, whatever parts of Stears you're working in, you appreciate that one of our values is quality, right? It's quality content. It's across the entire value chain, from, the journalist all the way to the economist, everyone, the designer, the data scientist, the engineer, everybody is trying to hit a certain standard. And when they hit it, they want to push it even further. So I think it's actually it's a team journey, in that everyone in the newsroom today believes that we are setting a gold standard. And if you're setting a gold standard, right, that means every day you need to be better than the competitor. And even if you don't do it, you at least try to better the competitor. And when you beat the competition, you keep pushing even further. So I think the general norm is just that this is what we do, right? This is Stears. We should be synonymous with quality, right? If we are not providing quality, we're not Stears. And so that just drives the mentality of the people. And then I think when you bring people together who are trying to actually hit high standards, high performing team, I think it's easy for people to build that culture of just improving. Build that culture of setting standard, because today I published this, and tomorrow another person publishes this, and you're reading, you're learning, you're improving. It's just that environment. I think it's so important, especially in a space like media, because you have to almost design it as well in a certain way. So is it possible for us to produce 20 articles a day that will all be high quality? Not my team today. That won't be possible. So you essentially have to design a model that allows you to provide really, really high quality content. And that means slowing down the newsroom. And that might seem sort of counterintuitive in the media space, but I think it's the way it works if you want to focus on quality rather than quantity. So for us, we don't need 10 articles a day. We don't need 50. We don't need to report everything that everyone in sort of the business space in Nigeria says every day. No, but when we pick a topic, when we decide that this is the issue of the day, then we're going to really go into it. We're going to break it apart. We're going to focus on the analysis. We're going to just drive it home, because we want every article to be the article. There's a particular kind of article we publish. It's a sort of a business model story. And for instance, with the Life Bank article that we did. And what drives a story like that? It's the desire to replicate. And when I say replicate, I mean you want the reader, after consuming the article, to be able to replicate the business that you just wrote about. So you want them to understand it at that level. And that just changes the entire emphasis. It changes, in fact, what the writer thinks they're doing. They're not just trying to report. They're not trying to, the CEO of the company may give a particular quote, but the writer is still thinking, okay, how does this fit into this bigger picture here? Is this actually, are you saying something that matches your business? Because many times, an interview with a journalist can turn into a PR opportunity, right? So you always have to look a bit deeper, but that's because, every day people just appreciate that the team is about quality, and you just have to keep pushing it. Well, I would say the biggest challenge is talent. I would say it's talent. And it's attracting talent. It's attracting talent of different kinds. So our team is made up of people with very different backgrounds. And that's very important to the overall product. It's an interdisciplinary team. We have engineers, so software engineers, we have data scientists, we have economists, journalists, analysts. Bringing all these people together is very important. And if you take a space like data science, it's relatively, underdeveloped compared to, for instance, web development. You have players like Andela who have invested quite a bit, building up software engineers. Data science is still growing. So, you face that sort of technical deficit. On the other hand, when we think about the newsroom, what's the challenge there? Well, we're competing with talent that can go to KPMG, PwC, McKinsey. That's the kind of talent we want, because you come into the team and most people don't have backgrounds in journalism necessarily. So I look at our two editors-in-chief, the previous one and the current one. The previous one was the chief economist at the investment bank in Nigeria. He came over to be editor-in-chief. And the current editor-in-chief was an economist working in the UK in the Department of International Trade. So you see, the talent is the same kind of talent that big banks, big research firms will be going for. So essentially attracting them to Stears and letting them know that you can create a lot of value inside the team is particularly difficult. It's become easier now that the product is out there, because I go back to November last year where Stears was different. We're still publishing, but we're not publishing the way we're publishing now. So trying to convince people that you come in here and you're going to really do something disruptive in space, they're like, well, it hasn't been done yet, so I'm not quite sure. But the team, the co-founders from the very beginning, essentially tried to build that culture where brilliant people want to come together. People want to think better. People want to write better. People want to become thought leaders, and it's become significantly easier over time. But I think that has been a big issue. I guess the second one now, and we're going to see this especially on the subscription side, is just dealing with a market that is not that familiar with paying for content. So that is a challenge we're going to just have to face, especially as we scale. You want it to be a big product and you start getting tens and tens of thousands of paying subscribers, there are going to be people saying, why should I pay for this thing when I can get it for free? And the reply is going to be, are you sure you can get it for free? Is there anywhere else that you'd get this information? So there is definitely that part of the whole process and the whole product where we have to educate. And we expect to be challenging as we scale out, but I guess that's why we're here. I would say for Stears Business, definitely launch on paywall, biggest milestone. So much went into preparing that product, so much went into making sure all the different elements of it come together, because in a subscription model, it's not just the content. There's also technology element. I mean, we're a tech company at our core. So when they want to log in, they can change their passwords, they can pay. These are all different elements that come together. So actually successfully launching that product was a big milestone. I would say for Stears Data, we had a project in 2019, a data collection project where we had to deploy about 600 data agents across the country, all 36 states, collecting data for sort of single project. And that was very important for us because it validated crowdsourcing as a way of collecting data in Nigeria. And it's something that can't be repeated very easily. You have to sort of manage that network. You have to make sure the economics of the particular project work if you're going out to collect on-ground data. But I think it was very important for us because when you look at the data value chain, data collection is like the first step of it. And having a viable or even an experimental way to collect data that is out there but no one has sort of pulled together is very important and very big. So again, being able to run a live project like that was pretty significant for our business as well. I would look at it from two different perspectives, Stears Business and Stears Data. Stears as a whole, definitely, we want to be able to start providing a sort of wall-to-wall information service. When I say wall-to-wall, I mean being able to provide a service to a user as an individual, i.e. The premium Stears Business subscription, and also provide the enterprise data solution if you're looking for more widespread data, rare data sets, large data sets. For instance, you want to understand what is the average income in a part of Nigeria like Lekki, being able to access that kind of data, that's where we want to get to. And to do that, we have our main sort of enterprise solution, which we're currently building, and that's called Core Data, and basically aggregates all the data we've been collecting for the past sort of 2 to 3 years to a single platform where a user can pay a license to actually just go on there and use it for their research, use it for decision making. So it's really the equivalent of Bloomberg Terminal for the Nigerian market. We do want to invest even more in collecting Nigerian, African data. And depending on that, we're we're also looking at markets outside Nigeria, but primarily because Nigeria is such a big market, there's lots of data, lots of information that is currently not available that we think we can make available. So it's about our ability to execute, the proper launch of that product and then start to build out a proper data collection pipeline. And so those are very important things. And yes, people have said sort of Bloomberg of Africa. As long as we're able to become that trusted source of data, trusted source of information to our customers, then I think we will have built out what it is we really want to.